podcast?
224. Good job I wrote that up on the board, isn't it?
It is, isn't it, lad?
Yes. You were right, Barry.
About what? Everything.
What did you say the week before last? On last podcast, it was Ben Askren versus that YouTuber.
Told you, lad. I knew he was going to do it.
Done me dirty there, Ben. Done me dirty.
Nah, I knew he was going to batter him, lad.
I thought you'd go a little bit longer than that, though.
Nah, hoping.
Gutted.
He's a boxer, lad.
He's fought
That's
three
like
nobodies.
It's not though, lad. It's like saying. It's like saying, like, I'm going to put it. He's a boxer and that's all he's done. Yeah, granted, he's a YouTuber and all that, but that makes no odds whether he's a YouTuber or a wagon driver or a forklift truck driver or a mini digger driver. It doesn't make no odds what he does. He's trained to be a boxer, I think, for 5 years or so.
3 years he's been doing it.
So he's trained to be a boxer for 3 years. This kid is trained to be an MMA fighter and a wrestler.
Yeah.
And then you're putting him in the ring. This kid doesn't know about MMA fighting and wrestling. This kid just knows boxing, and he's in the boxing ring. So he's going to have the upper hand, isn't he? Because he knows how to box. I knew straight away. It's like saying a kid who's trained to play football for 3 years, yeah, now gets on the football pitch
against an international cricket player.
Yeah, who's an international cricket player and was a former basketball player at top level. I'd put it on the footballer again because he's trained hard for 3 years just to learn that. You know what I mean?
It's going to be interesting to see how that goes.
Apparently he's fighting this Fury kid, isn't he?
Only if Tyson Fury fights someone else that
he's not going to dictate who Tyson Fury fights, but lad, if he gets in the ring with a proper boxer, he's had it, lad.
Yeah, he's looking now to get into the ring with some good boxing MMA fighters.
If he got on there, if the shoe would have been on the foot now, he battered that. What was his name? Ben Askren. So Ben, if Ben said to him now, get in the MMA ring or get in the wrestling ring, he's had it, lad. He'll get the iron of his life. It's just different, lad. Yeah. You can't jump into the fucking...
I hope he gets the beating of his life on his next fight. Does my head in.
You're just
jealous, he's horrible. I hate him. But anyway...
Why did you hate him?
Oh, he's just an arrogant fucking dick.
But lad, I think anyone's ego would pick up a little bit if they're classing you as a YouTuber and now you've got in the ring with 3 Olympic sportsmen and you're buying the 3 of them out.
Well, I know what he's doing. He's trying to build himself money and business, lad, and he's doing it Conor McGregor.
McGregor done it, lad. It was all right for him to do it. You love the bones of him, don't you?
He's a good
so this kid's just doing the same dance.
Yeah.
And lad,
I don't know, he just rubs me up the wrong way.
Do you know how to tell you how it's working? Right here, right now.
No, I'm talking about
him, lad. Which is then broadcast to everyone who listens, who's then going to, maybe half of them, maybe a quarter of them might just have a little look at it.
If they didn't.
And go, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
And there's the hype.
I know.
And that's how easily
Stop talking about them now.
Go on.
This is podcast 224. And for a couple of people that were moaning last week about, I listened to this for growing information and not for rants. It's my fucking podcast. I'll talk about what I want, mate. If I want to
get in the ring with him, you can.
I'm a famous podcaster. So hopefully you're not a fucking well-known wrestler.
Whose ego's got them now, eh? I'm a famous podcaster.
I'm being obviously not being honest. No, some people like...
You got some rants still, didn't we, last week?
Not loads, like just loads of people were made up. Loads of shops were messaging. Loads of end users like, yeah, fair enough. I see your point. That's like, yeah, that good point's made. One person was like, how dare you shout out end users and growers? They're your bread and butter. I was like,
no one shouted out an end user.
I know. We're on the end users.
Didn't he say something as well about like you're saying that it grows dust on your shelf?
Yeah.
Well, that's because we don't push products
that the customers don't want. If we had products that didn't grow dust,
someone comes into our shop and we earn 100% profit on that and 10% profit on that. If you went into a proper shop, nothing to do with hydroponics, they'd be pushing the 100% product on you. We don't. We tell them the benefits of that one, the benefits of that one, the pros and cons of that, and the pros and cons of that one. what suits them best, then that's what you get. If you come into our shop and you tell us that you've got a problem and you tell us, oh, we need Revive or some sort of doctor stuff because the plant's got fucking this or that, then lad, if you don't need nothing and I can talk you through it.
The best is fungus gnats.
Yeah,
Most
they come in
people
and I
want
need something,
tannin.
I need something. And lad, if I can talk you, loads of people I say to them, look lad, I can sell you that now and it'll help. But if you just do what I'm telling you, which is free, it'll help just as much as that product's going to do it.
And with fungus gnats, it's stop overwatering.
Yeah.
You get fungus gnats because you're
Stop
watering
watering.
too much.
Wait until the plant's just ready to start wilting and then give it a little bit and let the plant drink it and don't let the fungus gnats feed off it and live in it and all that.
And if it's really bad because you left it.
Or I can sell you that product now, and what you're probably going to do is you're probably going to put that product in more water and feed the plants, and it will kill the fungus gnats, but the plant's still going to be sat there soaking wet. It's not going to work. So I send people out to shop all the time who come in with money in the pocket and want to spend it, and I go, lad, you don't need to spend money.
So it grows. It was counterintuitive of what the argument was. If it grows dust and you're not treating your customers with respect. It grows dust because it's either not working for people or people don't want it, so we don't push it on them.
People who have made the product have just fell off promoting the product, and the products fell by the wayside.
Yeah.
That's just the end of the day. That is what it is. New products come out. If new products didn't come out, mate, we'd all have sore asses driving cars with square wheels, because the fella who wouldn't have invented the arm one, if we just made one product and it worked, then that'd be great, but we don't.
What were those first Ford engines where you had to turn them at the beginning?
You know what I mean? But we have stuck with all that shit.
So
New products come out all the time, lad, and some are better than others, some are copies of others, and some are shit. At the end of the day, that is what it is.
So that's it. We stand behind our rant. Manufacturers shouldn't give products to end users. Just loads and loads.
Should.
Direct them to the shops first.
Ask them what shop they shop at and put it through the shop so the shop can benefit from it too.
Yeah.
Because it's the shop that does fucking 90% of your fucking promotion for you and buys your product and sells your product. So don't just go giving it all away. You know what I mean?
And that was last week's podcast, 223, Return to Ranting, which we thoroughly enjoyed. I feel much better now. Like a weight has been lifted off our shoulders. We've got it all out there. If you didn't listen to it, go back to 223 and listen to what we were talking about. But this week's podcast it's a back to the growing.
It's positive, this one.
It's positive. So you can have your cup of tea. Go and get your coffee.
It's Autopot.
It's Autopot. It's not the festival. It's the Autopot Deep Dive podcast. So, cups of teas, cups of coffees, biscuits. So if you're listening late tonight, go and get yourself a beer or a glass of wine and sit back and listen to our deep dive into Autopot Watering Systems.
All good? Ready to go? Turn my voice up a little bit. Oh, got that everyone watching, the whole family.
Are you ready to go? Are you built to be in the house that I built, in the booth that I built?
I know people tune in every Sunday to listen, but even when business is good, we still manage to do the podcast. NPK.
So, an Autopot Deep Dive podcast 224. Just want to say very quickly that this podcast is dedicated to Christopher Shane Ralph Smith, who was Jason's dad. Jason's the owner of Autopot. He sadly passed away on the 22nd of February at the age of 76. So he was at some of the Autopot festivals, and we just thought we'd put this in memory of your dad, Jason. So Autopot, they are one of the partners of the podcast. Should we go through the other partners first before we get into it? I know what I'm going to do for Barry, because that just angle that into you.
You do my.
I know I do, but sorry, they look so much better. Wow. You know what it does? It's blocked out your face, so that's much better for me. Do you want to kick us off, Basil, my friend?
The first one I'm going to go with will be. Let's go for garden culture.
Reversing the shit up.
Eric the Kid.
Eric the Kid.
Eric the Kid.
Garden Culture Magazine. You can follow them on Instagram at Garden Culture Magazine, and go and check out their new website, gardenculturemagazine.com. It's been completely redone, really easy to use. All the magazines are on there digitally, so if you're an online shopper and you still want Garden Culture Magazine, go and get it from their new website. It's lovely. We've got some garden culture episodes to do as well. During lockdown, I think we've missed about 3 magazines, so I've got a few to do there. So look out for them. Loads of brilliant articles, and we'll get into all the nitty gritty of what the writers have been talking about. Next up is Gavita. Gavita have the widest range of lights and lamps that you can get your hands on. Everything from 600 single-ended lights to 750 double-ended, 1,000-watt double-ended, with such a wide range of shades, and phenomenal company. Go and follow them at Gavita International on Instagram, and the big one is at Gavita North America for all the US listeners. The website is where you can get all the information from now. It's gavita.com. You find out what type of shade you need for your specific growing space, and really nice website as well by Gavita. So that's Gavita for HPS lighting.
Is it my go?
It is.
I'm going to go with SANlight LEDs.
You're a pain in the backside,
Why?
aren't you? Because now you've messed the
Q1,
order up.
Q2, Q3, Q4, Q5, and Q6 next gen 2.
Shout out the socials as well.
What do you mean the socials?
The socials and the websites.
Yeah.
Can you remember what they are?
No. SANlight.com.
That's the website. Well done.
That's only highlight horticulture. That's where you'll get them from.
Yeah, you will.
From leading market superstores.
At SANlight _LED
I don't do all that. You
for the
do all
European followers, and SANlight at SANlight UK or at SANlight USA. You can follow there.
That means,
Yeah. You can follow them on Instagram. Next up, we have BudBox. You can follow them on Instagram at BudBox Grow Tents, and have a look at their wide selection of tents. BudBoxGrowTents.com. They have a new North American supplier, wholesaler, and they are. Let's find out. Actually, while Barry's shouting at the next one, because I said I'm going to shout these guys out because they're a brilliant team, and we're going to shout them out. So go on, Barry. You do the next partner.
Next partner is Can Fan and Filters. There you go. Done it.
Oh, well done. Erwin. So thank you for giving me a bit of time there. So BudBoxGrowTents.com, and they are distributed in the UK by Highlight Horticulture. In the USA, you can get them from Central Coast Garden Products. In Canada, you get them from Stella Wholesale. They have actually got South Africa, hydroponic.co.za distributor. And Australia and New Zealand, distributed by Dome Garden Supplies. You know what? I feel like we are a little bit too UK-centric, aren't we? Like, we always talk about UK stuff, and the vast majority of our listeners are US-based. Then it's UK, then it's Canada and Australia. So we are going to make much more points of including you all, and we really appreciate all of our international listeners. Can Filter, Erwin _
Why is theirs Can Filter NL? Because it's Netherlands.
Well done, Barry. Top score. They are canfilters.nl for the website. Nice new website. Looks lovely. And you can follow Erwin, who's our main man, and you can just follow canfilters.nl on Instagram as well to see what they're up to. Mm-hmm. We have CANNA, the UK's #1 hydroponic nutrients. Follow them, the UK, at canna.uk.official on Instagram. And a lovely website with lots of blogs and tips for how to grow the best plants, canna-uk.com. Go and follow them all. And last, but by no means least,
we're going to be talking about
all afternoon Autopot. Autopot _global for their Instagram. And for the USA, they have Autopot Cultivation Consultancy. It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? And the website is autopot.co.uk. And you know what I'm really proud of? Every single one of our partners have got really good websites, lots of information, and I'm really happy to send you all to those
Because
websites.
they're all the top kids.
The top kidders.
Not going to have shite websites, are they?
Before we get into the podcast, though, I just wanted to give everyone the news that me and Barry and the NPK Live team, we, again, are really grateful for all the listeners to sticking with us, because I've been checking out the stats from the last 2 episodes, and we're back. We're getting the same monthly downloads that we were getting. So I appreciate everyone that's actually tuned back in. And to all the partners for sticking with us, we're going to pay you back. And we've been planning for the last 3-4 months, and we're nearly at that stage where we can take the podcast to the next level. So we'll be bringing in a new guy who's going to be running the podcast. Still got Coatsy on the mixing and the mastering of the podcast, but we are going to make a big effort. We're going to go live again. We're going to be more competitions, just better podcast all over, more interactions from people, call-ins, Zoom calls to America. Just the podcast's going to go next level, and we're bringing somebody in to do it. We'll introduce you to him over the next few weeks. I'm going to make it so that no one ever gets to see his face. Do you know what I mean? He's going to be like, you'll hear him, but you'll never see him. He's going to work in the background. It's going to be...
What was that programme from years ago where it was in the garden?
Yeah, and he was just over the top of the fence.
Yeah,
you just can only see his eyes. That's it. So we're going to make it like that. He's going to be the mystery podcast. He's going to run it, basically. It's going to take a lot of weight off our shoulders, and it will be a much better production. So people who've been listening, we're going to reward you with a much better podcast, and we're going to go back live, and it's going to be really good. So, Autopot, a deep dive. Fortunately, it's not so much of a deep dive because the water level's only ever kept to 20 mil. So it's quite a shallow dive, really, isn't it?
I like Autopots.
I know you do.
I like them.
I thought this was going to be...
I really like them.
You know why you like them? Because of the functionality.
Yeah.
And what we're going to sort of harp on about today is, I haven't even written stuff down. I've just created pictures from their website. The amount of... There is a system for everybody. That's what I love about it. And I'm going to do another... Back in the day, me and Thomas did a podcast called A Fish in the Sea. Efficiency. And it was like my number one thing. If you want to be a better grower, you have to become more efficient. And more efficient means moving from a magnetic ballast to a digital ballast. You improve your efficiency. Moving from digital ballasts, single-ended bulbs, to double-ended bulbs. Using full fixtures like your Gavitas. Then you move up to SANlights. You move up to people like SANlight who produce LEDs to become even more efficient. Use Autopot because you use the least amount of water because you're only giving the plant what it needs. You're using less feed because you're only giving the plant what it needs. Less electricity because it doesn't require it. And it's one of the best systems. It is the best system in the world for being efficient. You're not wasting anything. And it's the only system in the world that's plant-centered feeding because the plant dictates what it wants and what it gets. What people misunderstand as well about Autopot is the real genius in it is it allows your plant to have a very small dry period. You know, on a typical float valve, as soon as the water level drops, it's going to let a bit of water in and it's always going to keep it at that level. The genius thing about the Autopot valve is it does allow it to dry and then it fills. So that's, I think a few people get confused. It does give it a dry cycle. You could actually go back and see one of the very first videos that I did, and it was originally a versus video, but it does show you the inner workings of the Autopot, which was Autopot versus GoGrow, and it was when we were off on a rant again. We hated imitation, and we just wanted to see what was the better system. And in my opinion, it was the Autopot. And I don't even know if that other system's out there anymore. You don't really hear much about it.
Let's not talk about it.
Yeah, but it was a good video. I enjoyed doing it. And if you want to go onto YouTube and type in Autopot UK, you can actually see how to use all of these systems. So if you're more of a visual learner, listen to the podcast, listen to what I've got to say, and then head over to YouTube, follow Autopot, and watch the videos. And Jason actually walks you through how to use every single system that you produced at the time. They're constantly coming out with new innovations. What do you like about Autopot?
Everything.
What
Genuinely everything.
What's the what was
I
your
like it for its ease. I like the fact that
what was the last one that you used? Like, what was the last system that you had to play with?
Just the standard one. What is it? 15 litre.
Oh, the 15-litre, just
15
in
litre.
15. The old school one,
old
the one
school
pot
one,
system.
but I had it with the new piping.
Oh yes.
I changed all the piping on it.
Any blockages?
Nothing.
No.
I've never, to be honest, I think you only got blockages if you did use like heavy organic fucking sludge.
Yeah.
Do
Or
you
you
know what I
missed or you
mean?
never cleaned
Yeah,
your system.
To be
out.
honest, I don't use it. So
No, that's
a
right.
good thing or a bad thing.
Dean
but
Finley, my
I think that's
biggest.
the only time you got blockages. If you just use normal feeds, like mineral feeds and
Yeah.
stuff like that, you didn't get blockages.
And you kept it clean. And
Yeah.
my biggest shout out was when people used to say, "Oh, I've come back and got a blockage. It's Autopot's fault." I'd say, "Listen, mate, there's in a nice way. Look at this fella. He's on there. Show him some pictures. Dean Finley, one of the biggest chili growers, one of the biggest hobby chili growers in the UK, running 120 pot systems minimum, absolute minimum." And I'd say to him, "How many blockages do you reckon you get?" And he was like, "1, maybe 2." And that's because I haven't gone round the valve and just cleaned it out a little bit just because there's so many of them. He had 1 or 2. And if I'm on the ball and I'm checking them, I don't really get blockages. And that was with the old piping. Now they've got the 5mm. They've got new fittings, new
Is it
piping.
5mm?
Yeah, 5mm aperture.
Yeah, inside diameter.
Inside diameter.
Yeah.
Should do a quick fact check. The Aqua Valve 5, new increased inlet diameter. You go onto the website, autopot.co.uk. You can actually see the new valve in a lovely animated render. Increased flow rates dramatically reduces blockages. But like we say, if you used it properly, you didn't really get blockages. So that's their new innovative delivery method of the water. And it's eventually, I think you can still get the small fittings, but eventually, if you aren't on Autopots now, do go to the shop and ask for the new pipe and get yourself the new valves, get yourself the new fittings. But I think they are going to keep them going for a little while longer. But going back to efficiency, 0 power, no pumps, no mains water pressure, no timers, and it's just gravity pressure. So, little quick fact. A litre of water weighs a kilo. So if you've got 400 litres, that is 400 kilos of pressure pushing down to be able to feed the system. So if you're worried about how it works, you've never used one before, it's the pressure that the water builds within the pipework, and then the Autopot valve does the job of feeding the plants. So that's all you need is the gravity. If you've got a smaller water butt, like 100 litre, you can actually raise it up a little bit. When you put it onto a stand, and then if you raise it higher, I don't know how the maths or the physics works.
But if you do raise it
power.
higher, it creates more pressure, doesn't it? But I don't know. I wouldn't know how to work it out.
It's tricky maths and physics, but raise it up, you're going to get better pressure. If you have got sort of a smaller water tank, 1,000 litres. If you're big and if you've ever been to the summer social and you've seen the Autopots in action, they actually use 1,000 litre reservoirs, and that's basically it's a ton of pressure, and the valves work all day. So I think it's quite ingenious, to be honest. I'm going to pull off some of the stuff that they've said. Designed by experts, headed up by Jason, the founder and creator, leading cultivation expert with his team of skilled hydroponic and irrigation specialists. Autopot is the market leader, designed for expert growers by expert growers. They say they're designed for expert growers.
No, it's not.
But if you're new to growing, I think this is one of the best systems.
I think it's one of the easiest systems to use.
Yeah.
If you were brand spanking new out there and you start jumping into like IWS and multi-flow and stuff like that and setting timers up to flood and drain, and I wouldn't put someone brand spanking new on one of them systems, especially with like lecky pumps and having to flood and drain 4 times a day, and more can go wrong, and not knowing when your plant wants more to increase flooding times and stuff like that. I'd be more go with Autopot.
Yeah, along with CANNA, we always say that CANNA is
we will have to pull
nutrients.
Autopot on this and tell them to change it on their website. Is that on their website?
It is, yeah. Designed by experts. I pulled that off.
Ooh.
So the
designed by experts is all right, not for expert growers, but they Are we reading this wrong?
Autopot is a market leader designed for expert growers by expert growers.
It works for expert growers.
Yeah, and expert growers use them.
Yeah.
But it's also very easy to use for beginners. Yeah. So we disagree with you, Autopot.
For rank amateurs.
Yeah, like Barry. No reaction?
Do you know what? I could get into it with you now, Dr. Death. But I just don't want to.
Cost effective is the next thing. Autopot systems have been proven to reduce water consumption and feed by 50% while increasing yields. The increasing yields part comes from, especially for your newer growers, where, like Barry said, they don't have a good idea of what the plant wants. So when it needs it, the plant tells the system. It drinks it, gives a dry period, it asks for more. On that point, though, one of Barry's top tips, I'm going to steal it off him, is to not put the reservoir tap on constantly when they're in veg. You want to treat it a bit like a flood and drain system in the early days. Turn the tap on, let them fill, turn it off, let them have a proper dry period.
That's how I've always treated it, though, like in veg. Like a lot of people think, oh, it's Autopot. You just put your plants in, you turn the tap on and you walk away and you come back when the tank's empty. Some people might do it like that and get away with doing it like that, but I've never treated it like that. I've always treated it like in the greenhouses. If you've filled your greenhouse and you can't get to the back and you're putting buckets on skateboards and sending it through aisles, it eliminates that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It eliminates that. It eliminates you to turn the tap on, leave it for a couple of hours, and then turn the tap off.
I'm just picturing you putting jugs of water on skateboards and down.
with a little bungee on it to pull it back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that.
But that's like, I've always looked at it like it saves you going from one end of a greenhouse to the other end of a greenhouse. You know what I mean? What you find in my greenhouse is my drain off. My water butts are outside my greenhouse. So I don't have water butts at both ends. I had them at one end because I go in one end. The only thing that's at the other end of my greenhouse is the
taps.
No, the air thing I've made, a thing at the bottom so the air can flow right through the greenhouse. So there's not a door at the end of my greenhouse. You know what I mean? I can walk right down my greenhouse. I have troughs both sides, but it's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For the people...
Saves you lugging buckets of water around them.
Barry is anything for an easy life.
I am, but it's not even that. It's like some people feed in these big trays, like let's say a 1 meter square tray and they put four plants in it, or a 1.2 tray and they put 5 or 6 plants in it. In my head, I've always had this thing where if you put 10 litres of water in that tray, let's say you've got 5 plants in it, that works out to 2 litres of water for each plant. But what you always find is not every plant's different. It might all be roughly around the same height, but one plant could be drinking 2 litres. The next plant could be drinking 2 litres. The other plant's drinking 2.5 litres, and the other one's drinking 2.5 litres, which is only leaving a litre for the other one if that's a bit more slower to drink.
Yeah.
So the other plants are all right now, but that one plant by the next day is wanting more. And I always look at it like if it's wanting more, it'll grow more. It'll give you more fruits. So it's like you're restricting it.
Yeah.
It's like putting a bodybuilder on weight gain, and he can gain, let's say he can gain £5 a day, but you're only giving him enough weight gain now to gain £3 a day. Well, he's never going to be top form, is he? Never going to put on that much weight. So if he can I always look at it like people say they feed the plants, and this is what I like about Autopot. People say, I give me plants 2 litres every day, and I go, for how long? And they go, oh, right the way through, and I go, yeah, is that all you give it? And they go, yeah, that's all it wants. And I go, but you haven't tried to give it more, have you? And they go, no. And I say, it's sort of like, they're like us, aren't they, plants? So I sort of look at it like, if I'm giving my plants now 2 litres every 2 days, and they love it, then the next week 2.5 litres, and they're going to cope with it. If they don't cope with it, I'll back off, but they will cope with it more than 90% of the time.
Yeah.
So the next week, I'll give them 2.5 litres and 1/4 of a litre. So 2 3/4. Because it's like they're the same as us. If you want your plant to put weight on, bigger fruits, bigger plants, better plants, you're limited by what you give them. If you're not giving them enough, they're never going to reach their full potential. Now, every plant's different and it's got its own potential, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you put 10 plants in a room,
They're
you're
individual
never going to
people.
get the identical. If you give them all 2 litres each, you're never going to get the identical of each one.
Yeah.
That's never going to happen.
No, even if
So-
people are thinking, yeah, but mine are all. I've had a brilliant tomato or chili, or if you're in the US and they grow cannabis, they've had brilliant cannabis clones. Those clones are still different.
Look
It's
at a
still
clone like, all right, it might come off the same mother, but
but it's different. and
I'm
it'll grow
different from my
different.
brothers and sisters in
Yeah.
the way we eat the foods we like. Some of my brothers are 3 times the size of me.
And I'm really handsome as well.
So, yeah, all of that. Yeah, all of that. You have to go and ruin it, don't you? Asshole.
Back to your flow.
I've lost my flow. But, I always look at it like, not how I teach people, but how I tell people in the shop is, imagine if you wanted to be the biggest you could be, if you were a trainer, and I only give you a certain amount of food each day. You're only going to grow to that amount of food.
Mm.
What I'm looking on doing is, if I give you 1 butty every day, your body is only going to grow to the minerals and vitamins and everything that's in that 1 butty every day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the butty this week. Next week, you need a butty and a half. The next week, you're going to eat 2 butties. And I'm going to fatten you up at the point where you're on 4 butties and you're not finishing it. I know then. Bam. Back off a little bit. Ease off a little bit for a week or 2 now and just keep giving them that. It's like stretching your stomach.
Yeah.
People do it. People shrink their stomachs, don't they?
No, when you're ill for a few weeks.
Yeah, when you're ill for a few weeks and you haven't really ate much and that, it's hard to get a full meal because your stomach shrinks, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The people who are on weight loss do it, don't they? They cut everything down, what they're eating. If they're eating so much each day, they try and half it. And at the end of it, it works out well for them because the stomach shrank and that's all they can get in before they're full. And so that means that they're not putting weight on, they've just got enough in them to keep everything
Maintain
going.
the calories, yeah.
I like Autopot for the fact that every plant gets fed individually. And if it drinks it's allowed more.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
As well as that, and as well as every plant needing different amounts of water, we're imagining that the environment's the same every day, day in, day out, day in, day out. And those people that are given either the 5 plants in a tray or the individual plants, and they're giving them all the same, they're assuming that their environment is the same. So if the temperature goes up or the humidity drops, the plant's going to drink more. If the temperature goes down or the humidity goes up, the plant's going to drink less. So are you adjusting the amount that you feed your plants based on your environment?
You know yourself, you have micro-environments all over the place, so them plants will drink more a metre away than what they will layering. So it's all different. So it's good that every plant gets what it gets.
Yeah.
Even, that's why I say for me, it beats IWS and multi-flow and stuff like that because you're flooding them and then you're draining them.
Yeah.
And it's like that plant's only getting, that plant now could be screaming for more. And the other plant next to it might just be drenched thinking, fuck me, I don't want no more. But the other plant's thinking, I need more.
Yeah.
I need more. It's like, it's putting the person in the gym and saying, there's a set of 20 key dumbbells. I'm going to come back in 3 months' time and I expect you to be massive. It's only going to be as big as them 20 key dumbbells will allow him to get.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
Right, yeah. Even, to be fair, RGS and multi-flow, when I know what Barry's saying, Boss Systems, but for where we're getting to with the efficiency is big on my list. I love efficiency, but also plant-centered feeding is so important. If you're really...
Autopot, there isn't another system that feeds every individual plant
automatically
and gives every plant the chance to have what it wants.
Yeah. The closest you're going to get is hand feeding.
Yeah. And even then,
you're going to do every single plant different.
Yeah.
Or you don't know what the plant wants.
You don't know, and it's too much hard work.
Yeah.
How are you going to do that? You're not going to do it.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. It's
so
20 plants in a room, and what are you going to do? Write a chart every day to say that one's had 2.5, that one's had that, and that one's had that. And then what you'll do is at some point, you're going to fuck all that up because you're going to look at your chart and go, that one's had 2.5, that one's had 2, that one's had 3, that one's had 3.5, that one's had 1.5. And you're going to up it all. And then you're going to come back to the next day and there's still going to be bits of water in them troughs and you're going to go, that one goes down. It's just, you're creating a drama.
I know. You know,
just put an Autopot system in there.
What it's good for is it allows you to be a grower rather than
You know what it
a
does?
mathematician or a watering
You know what it does?
specialist.
It frees up your time
Yeah.
to look after your plants more, the visual side of it, and de-leafing, making sure there's no pest, stringing things up,
Things that make a
tidying
massive
up,
difference to your
keeping,
yield.
looking after your fan and filter a bit more, your time is a bit more, and everything, rather than having to hand water every plant individually, making sure that every plant's got enough for itself, and then going on to do all them other things. And all them other things then become
Secondary.
a chore or a drain, or you just don't get time because you're out in the garden, the sun's going down, you haven't done it. Where I can now walk into my polytunnel and not really look at what they're getting fed, because they're feeding themselves.
Mhm.
You know what I
So
mean?
it might not even, it's potential. I don't know the answer to this, but it could be that it's not actually the system that's improving your yields. It could be the fact that you can now spend more time, like you've just said, de-leafing, scrogging, stringing up, checking for pests, checking for disease, just looking at your plant's health, and the fact that you spot things much earlier because you are getting to look at your plants. That could be the reason that you're improving yields, because you can get that much more attention. So it's just an impressive system all round. And what I like about it, so for the people that are listening, now everyone should be concerned about the environment. Everyone listening will know that we're in a bit of a shitty situation on our planet with emissions and with water shortages during the summer. This is where Autopot comes in really good. Super cost effective, but it's simple to use. The concept in irrigation is one that the horticulture and the hydroponic world needs, and it's about efficiency and saving where you can. Water conservation, the environment becoming prominent in our lives. Autopot, if you're trying to make a difference to the environment, is the system you should be using. Based on purely that you can say you're using less water, you're using less mineral nutrition, and you're growing better and healthier plants. So anyone that's bothered about the environment, it's another reason to use an Autopot. They've put high yields on here. So they said that the energy-free systems are proven by market leaders such as Growell Hydroponics, Sutton Seeds, DT Brown, Fothergill Seeds, Medwins of Anglesey, as well as some of the world's leading fruit, vegetable and medical marijuana suppliers. Horticulture is their middle name, and you'd be sure to see our range of automatic watering systems in the highest producing polytunnels throughout the UK and on an international scale. It's testament, because they've said proven by market leaders such as Growell Hydroponics. They haven't been able to put all of the shops. You will find an Autopot watering system in every single grow shop in the UK. Like, guarantee you. There's about, let's say there's 500 shops. I'd be very surprised if there wasn't an Autopot, at least a 4-pot kit ready to go for customers in at least 95% of those shops. You can't say that about most other systems, but I know that we have to stock Autopots and we have to stock all the bits because it's such a high demand system. So it's not just those people that have been mentioned. It's used by every shop, and it's available in every shop as well. The last little point that they make is they say it's most environmentally friendly. Specialists in the self-watering system, their emphasis is strongly placed on efficiency and preservation. Autopot delivers products that are considered the most environmentally friendly watering systems in the world to domestic, hydroponic and commercial markets. And our systems ensure this claim as the plant uses everything that is supplied to it. No loss of water, runoff or leakage if you build the system properly. Very important. So with Autopot, it's been going, it's around that long that maybe in the early days there's some things that needed fixing. But over the 5, 10, 15, 20 years it's been going, they've made the tweaks, and now you have a system that if it does go wrong, you shouldn't look to Autopot as the problem. You should look at, have I done this properly? Like a lot of people, or some people complain about the water leaking from the flexi between the tap. It's because you've over-tightened the tap, and what happens is there's 2 rubbers on either side, which stops this from happening. If you over-tighten it, you push the rubbers together, you increase a bit of it basically bends, and the water can very, very slowly drip out. There's some good techniques to stopping this. It's like fill your water butt up a little bit with water, put them on, hand tighten it, and then to where it's basically 3 o'clock or 9 o'clock, and then hand tighten it to the right position. All these examples, you can go onto YouTube and type in Autopot UK and see how to put these together. But don't just blame the Autopot. Just look inwards and look at, have I done everything right? Have I pushed all the fittings on properly? Have I checked that the valve is working? Have I checked that all the rubbers are in the right place? So look at your system and make sure that it's being maintained well.
Because there's not really a lot to go wrong with it.
No.
Is there?
No, it's been proven too much. So don't be that dick that goes into the shop and just goes, it's leaked or it's blocked, because the shop, I guarantee you will be thinking, mate, these don't block and these don't leak unless you've done something wrong. So make sure you're doing all your checks first. I wanted to run through, like what we said at the beginning was the variety of products that they've got. So if you're sitting there thinking, well, I'm this type of grower or I'm that type of grower, they have something for everyone. So they've got nice logos as well for every product. They've got the one pot systems. They've got, which is your tray, your valve, and your pot, 15 litre pot.
One pot system.
Yeah, and you can just grow one nice plant on it. It comes with a 45 litre plastic
Solid.
reservoir. You can get the 4-pot kits, which come in a box, 4 pots, 4 trays, 4 valves,
You can get
all the
that
piping.
in 15 litre or 25 litre kind as well.
Yeah, well, that's the 1-pot XL system. You can get the 25 litre XL pots, and now they actually come with cloth pots as well. So you can do cloth and plastic. See, again, environmentally friendly if you choose cloth pots. Air dome, if you think to yourself, oh, I like this system because it really oxygenates my plants. It comes with air domes. You can actually put air domes in the bottom, put a layer of pebbles over them, and actually feed air directly to the roots. So if you really like to oxygenate, or you're a DWC grower, Autopot's got you covered with the air dome. Gardeners out there, the Aquabox and the Aquaplate, you're going to have to go online to see these. You can go and check them out on autopot.co.uk or go and check them out on the YouTube channel. But these are brilliant systems where they'll use sort of wicking fibres. There's one called the, is it on here? The Aqua, I call it the Spider.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's there.
What page is that on?
Aquabox Spider.
Aquabox Spider, yeah. I love it because you put it into your raised bed. It comes out with these felt, and you put the felt on, and before it's covered up, it looks like a spider. And what it does is, you've still got your reservoir, fills the float opens, and it wets these felt strips, and then the felt strips spread out along the box and just water all the plants. And what you actually find is the plant roots wrap around these felt strips to drink like the straws. It's a really good system. So indoor growers, outdoor growers, greenhouse, polytunnel, commercial, hobbyist, I've got everything, something for everyone. They've got these cocoa mats as well. The cocoa mats that can go into their propagators. They've got easy to propagate kits, which is a really big propagator with the volt valve. You can put your seeds in there, your small plants. That's if you're a big propagator, that's what you can look for. Holiday people, easy to go kit, easy to grow kits, easy to propagate. Everything's easy with these Autopot fellas, aren't they?
They love it, don't they? Be easy to.
Yeah. You can check out all the fittings that you can get. Pot socks to stop your roots from clogging the system. They've got the flexi tanks in all sizes. The plant skate is one that I really like, but I'm going to let Barry talk about that.
We sell a lot of plant skates to people who don't even use Autopots, people who bottom feed with the roots. So say you've got the 60 by 60 tray that they do.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do one plant. So if you're in a sort of 30 litre, 40, 50 litre pot and you've got it in one tray and you're feeding that by bottom feeding it, then they'll use the plant skate just to keep it all dark, because that water could sit in there for a day or two. The roots are obviously out the pot. So I like it for that as well, that we do sell a lot of them to non-Autopot growers, but it's still
it's a good thing for
it's a good thing
using the 60 by 60s or in the metre by metres.
Yeah, that you can still.
But those people as well, they can use an aqua valve. They just put the aqua valve in there, and you can actually run a massive Autopot tray. You get the 60 by 60 with a 50 litre cloth pot on there, and put the aqua valve in, link it up to your reservoir. You can have multiple pots, put the plant skate on, and you're away. Yeah. A self-watered, massive plant. But the 1-pot XL Smart Pot, that's the cloth version of the XL systems. And then you've got all the replacement bits as well, an aqua valve cover, the replacement spirit level for the easy to go.
Yeah, it sounds like a joke that on the building site.
I know, yeah.
The spirit level bubble.
Yeah,
We used to send the kids to go and get them.
with the tartan paint and the left-handed screwdriver.
And the skating board ladders.
Yeah.
And the long stand. Go and get me spirit level bubbles.
Did you ever get anyone with them?
Blunt blades. All of that, lad.
Blood can go and get a pack of blunt blades.
Yeah.
I'd have loved to have seen people getting them with them. Then they've got the Aquavalve 5 is out as well, so you can get all the replacement parts for the Aquavalve 5. Top pack grommets, golf filter, really important. Something that Autopot growers may not use is the filter. So it's cost you about £8 from the shops. Is it on this list here? I don't think it's on this list, is it? It's a long filter, and what happens is it helps. It was used mostly in the earlier systems when the piping was really small, and just make sure that any sort of dust, plant matter that got into your tank, anything that was bigger than it should be, would get blocked out by this filter. So make sure that your system didn't get blocked. What else have we got on here? Oh yeah, all the new systems that have come out: the Auto 3 XL Smart Pot, Auto 3 XL, Auto 8.5 litre pots, Auto 8 15 litre pots, Auto 9 XL Smart Pot, and Auto 9 XLs. Just so many different varieties, so many different ways of growing with the most efficient methods. And like I said before, you've got the Aquabox Straight, the Aquabox Straight Extension Kit, which are all similar to the Aquabox Spider as well. Just so many systems.
Even I didn't know they'd done that many.
I know, it's impressive.
Wow.
But if you go onto their website as well, you can look at the brochures. You can, if you want to go on holiday, you can look at their
And it's,
holiday watering kit.
It's not even that dear, is it really? Like, for what it is. If you look at some electronic watering systems and timed systems and stuff like that, I think you've got a lot to go wrong with them, where if electric goes down or pumps fail, and it can be detrimental, the right word.
Yeah, it is. 12 times RHS Chelsea Gold medalist Medwin Williams' verdict on Autopot. He said, Autopot fits perfectly with my busy life. With it, I've grown a wide range of vegetables of prize-winning size and quality, including those that secured my 12th RHS Chelsea Gold medal.
Yeah.
Doing a little bit better than us. We won silver gilt.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, though, have got like the biggest fruits and veg out of Autopots, haven't they?
Yeah, a lot of the giant vegetable growers use some variation of Autopot or some of their kits some of the kits that Autopot produce. The prices as well are on the Autopot website. They've got the blogs, the Good Life Garden. You can keep up with Autopot's growing guides. You can stay up to date with all the new stuff that they bring out. So, very good website to go and check out. Contact them, follow them on Instagram, follow them on YouTube.
All round good, cheap, bulletproof system.
Yeah, it is.
And I'd definitely be on the phone to Jason on Tuesday morning to say, just delete that piece out of your website and put in that it's for rank amateurs as well.
Rank amateurs and experts.
It's easy, isn't it? And like you say, about freeing up time, it does free up your time to look after your plants rather than feed your plants, although that is one of the main things. But even if you're an hand feeder, so you hand feed every day, and say you didn't use a tank and you were just hand feeding 10 litre buckets and your pH and an EC in that 10 litre bucket every time, now you're not. It's once a week.
Mm-hmm.
You're filling your tank up. You're taking the time to do it correctly.
Yeah.
I can't get my words out. And because I've got that comfy.
That Indian's hit home, hasn't it?
We've had an Indian before and it's absolutely eyeing me out. So it gives you the time to do your pH, your EC. It gives
temperature.
2 days later, pH rises just generally a little bit, doesn't it? It gives you a chance to, 2 days later, you go back in your grow room, or your polytunnel or whatever, your garden, you don't have to mess about, and you can check why you've looked at your plants, because you don't have to worry about feeding them now. You can check that your pH hasn't gone too high or your EC's doing okay, and you can just check every variant other than the actual lugging of fucking kilos of water around.
Yep. Actually, you know, I've just found out is rather than messing about and searching everywhere, go to autopot.co.uk, click on videos, and it says, welcome to our video tutorials page. And it's got everything there from the Autopot One Pot XL setup to all the different module setups, maintenance and care, how to properly do flexi tanks, the plant skirts. So there's everything on there. So really, you've got no excuse to not know how to do it. It seems intimidating. It's all on their website for you to go and check out.
And if they did miss something on the website, which I don't think they have, judging by all the videos, there's nothing you can't find out on YouTube on them on because Autopot's been around that long.
Yeah,
you can literally just type it into YouTube and you will get that many videos. It's overwhelming.
So what I'm interested in, it's now feedback time. If you don't use something like an Autopot, what is your reason? So some good reasons are, I've used XYZ system all my life and I do good, get good results
in the shop
with it.
and asking, I know what the main reason is that people are scared of flooding. So the people who don't use Autopot don't use another system. They don't use any system. They hand feed just because they're that panic struck over flooding, which, you know, fair dues.
Yeah.
The only thing that I do say to them is you're half missing out. You're missing out. Do you know what I mean? And it's understandable. Everyone's going to have that thing about flooding.
Well, what I'd say to you is do some outside. You know what's great for? If you're hesitant, this summer's going to be a great time to, if you've got kids, grow some plants with the kids. Go and buy a 4-pot Autopot system. I think they cost about £95, £100. Comes all in a nice, lovely box. Teach your kids about popping seeds, growing plants, tomato. You could do it. Do tomato plants, sunflowers, whatever you want. Sunflowers would be really good because they're big drinkers. Listen, I'm the best sunflower.
Only popped. I'm gonna have to tell them that.
Go on.
Only popped 10 seeds in the shop.
Who popped them?
Award-winning ones, though. Not just any ones.
Who got the seeds?
These go like bin lids. My neighbours were like. Last year, my neighbours were like, knocking at the front door.
Not answering the question because he knows.
Where have you got them from? They were like, honest to God, they were well over 5 metres tall.
Where'd you get your sunflowers from last year, Barry?
I got them from you.
Yeah, man.
This year, I thought, head of the game.
Who got the seeds?
Bam, let's go. On the counter, we've got a 60x60.
I got the seeds.
Tent. You might have got them, but you killed them all.
Who popped them?
You popped them.
Who popped them?
It's not hard to pop seeds.
I didn't pop seeds.
Who done them?
You did them.
Yeah, I done them.
Who watered them for the first few weeks?
Me.
And was there any notification of the change of duties? Stephen, you must water these sunflowers.
They're on the counter in plain view. They look lovely. Every customer who comes in goes, they're boss them, aren't they? It shows them in the propagator.
Steve must have done that.
Stuff like that. I had a nice long weekend. Friday, last day was in the shop was Thursday, back in Tuesday. And I just went to the shop. I'd left something in the shop. I think it could have been a charger or something. I've gone in the shop anyway. On the Saturday, every one of them is just dead. Not even like where they've killed them and thought, shit, take them out and put them in the bin. I'd literally just left them dead, just in the tent.
Because we're busy
and
working.
I just thought to myself, you absolute gang of fucking jokes. These were like 8-inch tall sunflowers, just kicking full of life when I left Thursday. And by Saturday, you have killed them. I just thought, this is just...
Barry forgot to tell us. I forgot to
tell them about
the duty of responsibility.
I forgot to tell them to water the plants that they walk past 1 million times a day.
I thought you'd left them on an Autopot system so that this wouldn't happen.
I left them on an Autopot system, you turd. Absolutely finished them. I had pumpkins in there as well, and I just about got them back to life. Just about, with a little bit of love and care. But Dr. Death just finished.
Tell you what then, you know what we'll do rather than splitting responsibility.
Well ahead of the game there.
No, you're growing everyone's sunflowers.
Do you know what I mean?
What we'll do then is we'll go and get a seed and we'll go, right, you pick the seeds and we'll just pop them and we'll run
lad,
a sunflower. Are you already?
I'm ahead of you anyway.
Why? Because you took the seeds I bought and done some more.
All the seeds, them award-winning seeds, what you got, were all of them were popped.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Yeah.
I've been out and bought my own now because I can't rely on you. You couldn't look after yourselves.
Oh, is that how it is?
That's how it is, mate. Between Thursday night and Saturday afternoon, you'd iron the full tent of plants
Well,
out.
I wasn't in the shops that day,
Do you
so
know what I mean?
I'm
It's fucking
not taking
dangerous.
responsibility.
And we're
I'll
there
tell you
telling,
what then.
we're there telling people how to grow plants and the best methods. And at the end of the counter is a load of fucking dead fucking plants. It's like, oh, fucking hell, lad.
Tell you what then, it's fucking on, mate.
You need
It's on.
Autopots in your life. You're on here preaching to
It's
people
on then.
about like, oh, they're
I'm going
great,
to prove
they're
you
great.
wrong.
You fucking, Jason, do us a favour, send me a 4-pot system just for Steve.
Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to publicise this, and we're going to see who gets the best sunflowers.
Mate, mine are 8 inches now.
Oh, it's the biggest you've ever had, isn't it?
Can't rely on people.
Basil, next
That's
week.
the other thing what's great about Autopot.
Oh,
You
fucking here we
can't
go.
rely on people. And you know what? You don't fucking need to when you've got an Autopot, mate. Okay?
Sound. Competition on.
It's not competition, mate.
War
I'll
on,
win,
mate.
lad.
You fucking
I can
won't win.
put my feet up now.
No, you can't.
Listen, I'd outgrow you any day of the week.
Would you know?
Yeah.
That's not what the ladies say.
Listen, you've got one lady in your life, mate.
So have you.
I know
So
we
we're
have.
both chatting shit.
Listen.
We're both fucking 10 years deep. We're fucked. What's next week, Basil?
Have we decided?
No. It's podcast 225. I think we need to show some love to garden culture because there's been loads of magazines have come out, loads of great articles, and we need to go through them, to be honest. We do.
Yeah.
So it's podcast 225. We're going to do the deep dive on garden. No, it's actually not even a deep dive. It's just a garden culture review, and we've got fucking loads to keep up on. But coming up, we've got the deep dive of Gavita. We are going to get Chris in. He's the Gavita UK rep.
Yeah.
We are also going to try and get someone from the US to get involved in the podcast and talk about Gavita.
We want to hear one back on. They've got a few new bits and bobs out, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. We're going to air one back on.
Is Erwin
SANlight.
been on?
No,
he shit himself,
he
didn't
did, yeah. He needed
A
time.
lot of
to
people
think
shit
about it.
themselves on the podcast. They go, oh, fuck that, I can't do it, I can't do it. I go, lad, what's up with you, mate?
Yeah, shout out to everyone that's
Oh,
come on the
fucking hell, lad.
podcast.
You know what I
Aye.
mean?
Brave people. No, you're not brave. It's just,
Who's asked?
yeah. SANlight. We've got a deep dive to do on SANlight. And I think we did a deep dive on CANNA, didn't we?
Yeah,
Pre-lockdown.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're nearly there with the deep dives.
Yeah.
And then we're going to start really getting into the guests. We've got some
Do you know
good
what I
stuff
want to
going.
do?
Go home.
No, I want an invite of SANlight.
Yeah.
Obviously, when the airports are all back up and everything.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I want an invite of SANlight to go back over and do a live podcast in Switzerland, in the grow room, and show everyone what these SANlights are made of.
Yeah. You're just wounded that you never get to go the first time, aren't you?
Yeah.
You didn't get to eat the schnitzel in Austria.
I just never went the first time.
Oh, it's great.
Man, I'm dying to go. So, if you're listening, SANlight, just sort the invite out. Let's get over it. Let's do a podcast live. Let's talk about the SANlight. Let's see them in full action. What's their main kid called?
The owner of SANlight.
No, the fella.
I knew you were going to ask this.
Jalal praises him. What's
No.
his name?
He was messaging me on the podcast Instagram a couple of days ago. Where are you?
To get people to learn how to daisy chain them properly and the spread on them and what each bulb, the 5 reds, and just to have a bit of a down low on them. That's what I wouldn't mind doing. I wouldn't mind shooting back to, look, I say, like I'm just like fucking jet life or something there. Just shoot back to Austria there and get in that big grow room. And see.
I can't remember his name, but if you follow him, I don't think he's big on Instagram. He's only done 7 posts, but he's called Manky the Farmer. MANKI the Farmer. Actually, you know what? I need to follow him back. Wasn't doing that. And if you want to look at the farm, this is much better. This one, Manky _ farm, MANKI. And when we were there, like, do you know what Manky means in like English? He was like, no. He said it means like, it's a bit manky, that, and it's a bit dirty. He was laughing his head off, going,
But that's what we need to do. I wouldn't mind doing one of them.
but yeah, go and check out his page. It's gorgeous. It's in Switzerland. It is legal for medicinal cannabis to grow, and they grow CBD. So it's a full CBD cannabis page. Really, really nice. You get to see how the SANlights work. Oh, just phenomenal. Just dream job. Dream job to be there with that sort of technology, growing the good plant.
I am actually going to go home and see when we can fly to Switzerland, and I'm going to book it.
Are you?
And you're coming.
Okay. Let's take the mics with us and let's go. Sound. Well, I should have done this at the beginning because that's where you get the most listeners is at the beginning, isn't it? But if you want to keep up to Man and Barry and the shop's sunflower competition, follow the podcast at NPK Podcast. And you can follow the shop at NPK_Hydroponics. So give us a follow on Instagram and you'll be able to stay up to date with everything that we're up to. Have a lovely day, evening, weekend, middle of the week, whenever you're listening. And we will see you all next week. Podcast 225, Garden Culture Review.
Yeah, man.
See you all soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.